Hello, everyone! The shocking moment when Pastor Joel Tudman finally exposed Bishop Henry Fernandez has sent ripples across the church world, shaking congregations, stirring conversations, and leaving both supporters and critics scrambling to understand the depth of what was revealed. Because for years, these two influential voices in ministry moved within overlapping circles of power, influence, and preaching platforms, their names often appearing on the same rosters for conferences, revivals, and church gatherings, but behind the public smiles, handshakes, and carefully crafted images, tensions had been building. Private grievances had been simmering, and hidden truths were waiting for the right moment to come crashing into the light. And according to insiders who had been close to both men, Joel Tudman had reached a point where silence was no longer an option. And when he took the pulpit and began to share what he claimed had been covered up for years, the reaction in the room was nothing short of electric, because here was a man who had once been known as a rising star under Bishop T.D. Jakes' leadership, now openly confronting another towering figure in the church world. Bishop Henry Fernandez, whose ministry empire, based out of Florida, had been built on the foundations of faith, prosperity preaching, and high-level connections, and for Tudman to step forward and call him out was more than a personal dispute. It was a bold declaration that no one, no matter how powerful, should be above accountability. What Tudman revealed, in his signature passionate and raw style, was not just a disagreement over doctrine or leadership style, but allegations of mishandling finances, manipulating congregants with promises of blessings tied to giving, and creating a culture where loyalty was demanded above transparency. And as he spoke, many in the audience gasped, others wept, and still others sat stone-faced, realizing they were witnessing a public unraveling of a relationship that many thought was untouchable. Because when two prominent leaders clash at this level, it doesn't just affect them. It sends shockwaves through their followers, staff, and the broader Christian community who have invested time, money, and faith into their ministries. Tudman's exposure, however, was not only about Fernandez's alleged actions, but also about the broader issue of how the church has too often turned a blind eye to misconduct when it comes from high-ranking figures. And he argued that protecting the reputation of leaders at the expense of truth has left countless members broken, disillusioned, and spiritually abused. And this was his attempt to say, enough is enough, that the pulpit should be a place of integrity, not manipulation, and the church should be a sanctuary for healing, not a marketplace for greed. And as he laid bare his claims, the room became divided. Some applauded his courage, others whispered that he was bitter or seeking attention, and still others admitted privately that they too had seen glimpses of what he described, but had been too afraid to speak out. Fernandez, known for his polished style and business-like approach to ministry, has not yet given a full public response, but sources close to his church suggest that damage control is already underway, with loyalists rallying around him while critics demand answers. And in the meantime, Joel Tudman's bold move has placed him at the center of controversy, admired by some for his bravery, and condemned by others for breaking what many see as an unspoken code of silence among clergy. But regardless of where people fall on the spectrum of opinion, one thing is clear. This confrontation has cracked open a conversation that cannot easily be closed again, and as the story continues to unfold, it forces us all to ask hard questions about accountability, truth, and what it really means to lead with integrity in a world where charisma can often mask corruption, leaving us to wonder not only what will happen to Fernandez's legacy, but also what this exposure will mean for Joel Tudman's own future in ministry. Because once you shine a light on the darkness, there's no going back. And the fallout from this revelation may well reshape the spiritual landscape for years to come. Thanks for watching.